So our speaker tonight is Heider Garcia. He's the Tarrant County Elections Administrator here in Tarrant County, obviously. His history includes 13 years in the private sector working for a vendor of voting technology, where he designed, customized, and certified and deployed various types of elections technology around the world. Since 2016, he has worked in the public sector, first as the elections manager of Placer County, California, before moving to his current role in Tarrant County, the third largest county in Texas and the 16th largest in the U.S. Heider is a computer engineer, graduated from the Simon Bolivar University in Venezuela, a certified project manager, and a SARA graduate. Please welcome Heider Garcia.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation, and thanks for letting my family have dinner here also during the event. Appreciate that. So my name's Heider Garcia. I'm the Elections Administrator for Tarrant County. I see some familiar faces, so after a little over a year and a half here, it makes me feel good, starting to remember people and places. I'm new to the county, or I can't say if I'm new anymore, I moved in, right? But I've been trying to work to understand the local mindset and to make sure that we take elections as we move forward and modernize in the direction that will make the voters in the county more comfortable and more feel trust of the system, right? And so that's been a little bit of what's going on in this year and a half. There have been a lot of internal changes. Some of the changes you have seen from the outset. We're going to talk about 2 or 3 of those during this event. The big one, the one that everybody wants to talk about, and the setup we have here, is the new voting equipment. So I'm going to start with that, then we'll talk a little bit about vote centers, and then some other things that you may, and just open it up for questions, because I think it's more important for me to talk about what you want to hear than what I want to say, right? So these are the new voting machines. We had, before we got these machines that we had been using in the county for almost 15 years. The contract, I looked it up this week, we signed in 2006, 2018, so that's 13 years. Think about what I tell everybody, a 5-year-old phone, right? So this week, iPhone 11 came out, just pick iPhone 7 and tell me how that feels, and that was 4 years ago. We were using machines that were 13 years old. So there was a need to change them and upgrade, not just because of the expectation you might have had when you walked up to them and felt like you were playing in an Atari at this point, but because of security concerns and because of all the perception and everything that surrounds it, right? Everybody felt that, well, they're sold, they're probably easier to hack by the Russians. And so whether it was right or not, it was just, we need to do something about this. Now this is something that started before I even got here. Okay? The money for this, the court had been putting to the side to buy these machines. So it was a pretty sweet deal for me to get the job and say, here's the keys to the office and here's $14 million, go buy new machines, right? So I'll give credit to the court for that, to the county as an institution. They had been seeing this coming for a while and had set aside the money. So what was the big change when we talked to the court? We said, we have many options. We knew we wanted to go to vote centers, right? We knew we wanted to make it easier for people to vote, especially when you talk about people not finding their precinct. And how many of you are election judges or have worked on election during election day early voting? So you know how frustrating it is on election day to have someone come in at 6:30 and say, I need to vote. Oh, you don't live here. You got to go halfway across town. Well, you can try, but your provisional won't count anyway. So that was the main thing, make it easy for people. And then in the discussion, there are other factors that come up when you have vote centers, like being able to reduce the number of locations, but that was always secondary. I mean, if we can save the money, great, but if not, at least we can get people to people's votes to count. About 30% of the provisionals that are rejected historically are because the voter was at the wrong place. So that was we want to solve that problem. To get there, we had to replace the equipment. So if you recall, in early voting, we had electronic voting with no paper trail, and on election day, you had hand-marked paper ballots. The reason we needed to change this, besides it being written in the law, is in Tarrant County, we have over 1,000 different ballot designs, because we have 700 precincts, and we have so many school districts and cities and territories that the combination of contests and propositions that you can have in your ballot varies greatly. Even from one side of a street to another, you may have a district line right down the middle. You know this, those of you who have been precinct chairs and judges. And so, to allow anyone to go anywhere, you would have had to have probably hundreds of thousands of ballot sheets at every location. So whoever shows up has a ballot. So that was not doable. So as long as we had the old hand-marked paper ballot system, we could not go to vote centers. And then in early voting, because we had by law to let anyone go anywhere, we had to give up on the paper ballot. That's why you had an electronic no paper trail system. Does that make sense so far? Okay, so when we talked to the court, I told them we have basically two options if we want to go to vote centers. Electronic no paper trail, or there's this new trend in the market that we call a hybrid system, in which you're going to vote on a touchscreen, you're going to get a paper printout, and then you're going to scan that to get it counted. And what that does is that it gave us the paper trail without the need to pre-print blank ballots. And so I'm going to show you, I'm going to start right now with this, exactly what happens. You're going to walk up to your check-in station, right? If you're the voter, you're on the other side. This is the poll worker. Poll worker basically scans your ID, which tells the system what ballot type you need, and that ballot type generates an access code. So you as a voter are going to get a blank piece of paper, a blank ballot, and an access code number, okay? So now you're going to move to the room, and you're going to have a string of these available throughout the room. Think about it as, if you've been in an airport, those kiosks where you check in, and you say, okay, I'm going to go choose my seat and check my bag, the whole thing, and you just walk up, and there are a bunch of those terminals, and just take whatever's empty and use that one, right? So I'm going to grab that as a voter. Now this is me, the voter. I'm going to try to read my paper. Here we go. Type my number in. And now it's going to ask me, I need your blank paper, right? Put it in the machine for it to hold. And now based on the code that I got, the machine is going to list for me the races I'm entitled to vote on. So if I live in Bedford, then eventually I'm going to see the city council on, and I'm going to see my Senate district and so on. Every contest is going to be, and I'm going to be here after we're done so that everybody who wants to comes in and tries it is going to be listed on a single page. And the candidates for that race are listed in that screen, right? So in this case, we have an Avenger symbol. For president, I'm going to vote for Steve Rogers. And then I hit next, and it says, okay, now for the U.S. Senate. Who do you want to vote for? And this time I'm going to vote for Tony Stark. Of course, we all love Tony. We love Tony, right, Tony? Tony's my kid. Then I'm going to vote for Diana Prince, and so on. So I'm going to be moving through screens, right? So which one of these do you want for this race, and so on. And I'm going to skip. I'm going to leave a few blank, which I can do. Eventually, it does also show any proposition that's on the ballot. So I'm going to skip this one, but should Groot's vocabulary expand? No. Groot should keep saying, I am Groot. And so checkpoint 1 is on the screen right now, which is everything that I've been choosing is on the list. And so I can see right there, I voted for Steve Rogers for president, for Tony Stark for senator, and so on. And I go and I scroll. If I don't like something, county judge, yep, I'm going to change that, and I'm going to vote for Oliver Queen, whoever that is. Not a good way to vote, but meeny, miny, mo for this one. We choose, we check everything, and we say, you know what, I do like what I did. Now the machine's going to fill out the ballot for me, if you want to call it somehow. Nothing that I have selected is being recorded at this point. It's just being printed on my ballot. Okay? In fact, if you go into our office and we don't know you're there, you're going to hear us call these the dumb terminals. They know nothing. They're like Jon Snow, right? So, there you go. You watch it. Okay. So this is my ballot. This is my checkpoint number 2. And I look at it and I go, Steve Rogers, maybe I don't want to vote for him after all. I can spoil this ballot. It's going to take time. You're going to go back. You're going to get checked in again. You're going to surrender this. You're going to get a new sheet and a new code, and you're going to start from scratch. And you come back up to it and say, okay. If you like it, and if you agree that this is what you want counted, then you're going to move out to the end of the room and find a scanner. And it's at this point that you grab pointing orientation. Doesn't matter what you do with it. Just put it in. And this is a machine that's actually going to read your ballot and count it and drop it in the ballot box. And so at this point you go home because you have voted. So if you do this and you don't do that, it was fun, but it didn't count. Plus it's illegal. You can't take the ballot home. So make sure, for those of you who've done early voting, you're used to seeing the flag on this one. If you try it later, or if you got to see it, there was no flag here. It's over there. So you're still going to be wondering, I didn't see the flag. It didn't count. Pick up your paper trail, put it in the scanner. So what that means, tying into the second point, vote centers, is because this one has every combination of races you can vote on, and because the poll book is telling him, okay, I know where this person is, and they need ballot type 54, 42, 3, 10, whatever it is, you can go anywhere, and the one you grab, it's not so dumb after all, it's going to know exactly what to show you, so you can vote and then get your printout to put it in the scanner. And so that's what we did. What we did was we went for this new model that combines the electronic flexibility and precision of what we can show whatever we want on the screen with the paper trail. And I should have unlocked this, but the ballots are in the ballot box. And at the end of the day, those get zipped up and sealed and sent to our office, and that's our paper trail for audits or anything. So vote centers.
And you've got your receipt, so you're still tied to it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have anything that says, anything that you did on the ballot. The only thing you have is this access code, which you can see I have in my hands. And it'll be a little trash can, but it has a number that doesn't tie to the ballot or tell you anything. I think when you check it in the poll book, we also used to give a little extra printout that just proves you checked in. But those two systems are disconnected. For those of you who are wondering about security, notice that I'm using this without the poll book. It doesn't even know it's gone. So they're not connected. The poll book is connected to the internet, because if you vote at Lupus Grill, because you could also vote downtown and whatever Lupus competition is, we need to tell them, hey, Heider just voted here, don't let her vote there. So the poll books are connected to the internet, and they do talk to each other. But this system's completely offline. And that's why you need to have that little paper that goes from here to here, because somehow you have to tell them what to vote for, right? So going back to vote centers, when the court approved that we went to vote centers, they conditioned it to one thing, that we did not reduce any locations in the county. So for those of you who are used to the map of locations, we're still going to have the 300 plus sites that we have on election day. We're not going to be reducing anything. There are a couple that did not confirm availability. We're going to court next Tuesday for that. But in general terms, you're going to have the full-scale deployment. And anywhere you see a vote here sign, you can cast your ballot on election day. Other than that, there are a few things that changed. For those of you who are running campaigns and are wondering the details, the law does specify for certain changes when you have vote centers. So because you can't vote, you're not mandated to vote in your precinct specifically anymore, election judges are not necessarily tied to the location anymore. And so there's a rule, and we've already worked with the parties to say, hey, the law says, you can now say, guess what? I get to put a judge on, where are we, Commissioner Precinct 3, right? We're in 3. So I get to put a judge in 4. I have no one who lives there. We can take someone from 3 and tell them, do you want to work in Precinct 4? Because we got one there to cover. That is something else the law allows now. So we work with the parties. They've switched around the assignments they had done. We're also taking that to court next Tuesday already to approve the assignments of judges. General things that are happening for November, this is all being deployed already for this November. That has been, and I have no better word to use to describe it, a brutal challenge. We signed this contract 4 weeks ago. We got the first truck of machines in 4 weeks ago, and we started training poll workers last Tuesday. So today was the 3rd day. At this point, we would have trained already almost 200 people. We're going to continue doing that for the next 6 weeks to be ready for November. It's been a tremendous effort. So if you see someone who has a badge that says elections, give them a big hug because they need it to keep going through the next 6 weeks. But that's the plan. The old equipment is already gone. We don't even have it in-house. It's probably already been recycled and destroyed by the vendor. Seriously, go straight to the recycling plant. This is, starting this November, the new and modernized way we're going to do the elections, hopefully for the next 10, 15 years in Tarrant County. Electronic voting with a paper trail and vote centers so people can go anywhere. Other than that, next week is Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day. So we'll be in every courthouse and in a few sites. You can check out the website, tell people, it's great to do all the effort, but if you're not registered, you can't vote. So it's a good day to remind everyone to check their registration, call our office, check our website. For those of you who are VDRs, Voter Deputy Registrars, some of the pages on the website are going to change, because of course it used to be, I'm Heider, I live here, well then you have to go here. Now it's, okay, this is closed. Do you want to find something closer? Do you want to give me another address? So it's going to, the interaction on it's no longer where you have to go, it's where are you, so we can find something close. So some of those websites you used to use some of those tools on our website are going to start looking a little different. And it's precisely to give you the tools to help people find information. And that poses a challenge for us, because if you want to look up a sample ballot, now we go back to where do you live. And so keep an eye, 'cause some of those tools are about to be flipped on the website for you, so you can do those searches and inform voters better. But if you have any questions, always call our office, 817-831-8683, and we'll be glad to help you. So, I don't know, how do you want to do this? Do you want me to just open for
Yeah,
questions?
definitely
or-
questions.
Okay.
Questions, I'm sure there's a lot of questions.
So I'm gonna go from the back front, let's go here, 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 and then Bob. Your last. Yes, sir.
So you started out saying scan your ID. What, you're talking about driver's license or a voter's specific?
Fantastic question. There are 7 types of approved ID that you can bring to the polls. The state calls Class A. If you got one of those, straight up. The most common one, almost 98% of people who vote show a driver's license. And the iPad is capable of scanning the barcode. It just makes the check-in process quicker. If you don't have a driver's license, you can bring your military ID, your passport, your certificate of naturalization, and they'll just have to type your name in and find you, and it'll take 45 seconds instead of 30. If you don't have one of the 7 types of ID,